Hello, everyone. I am Dr. Mike. Throughout my decades of practicing clinical medicine, I have walked into thousands of exam rooms and consulted with countless patients who believe that entering the milestone years of 60, 70, or 80 automatically marks the absolute end of their physical vitality. There is a deeply ingrained, unfortunate misconception in modern society that reaching these advanced decades means you must inevitably surrender to chronic frailty, universal joint pain, and an unavoidable cascade of debilitating illnesses. However, from a rigorous medical standpoint and based directly on my extensive personal observations as a physician, I am here to tell you that chronological aging is merely a number on a chart, not a definitive diagnosis of decay. The human body possesses an extraordinary resilient capacity to maintain peak functional performance well into late adulthood, if it is cared for correctly. Today, I want to step away from the abstract textbook theories and look at the practical, real-world biological indicators of health. Medical science, backed by robust longitudinal studies, explicitly demonstrates that if you can still successfully perform and maintain 7 very specific physical and cognitive abilities during your senior years, you are not just getting older. You are genuinely conquering the aging process. Your internal biological architecture, your metabolic pathways, and your cellular integrity are functioning at a level that rivals individuals who are literally decades younger than you. Let us deep dive into these clinical signs to discover if your body is secretly retaining its youthful edge. When a patient who is 70 or 80 years old walks into my clinic for an annual physical examination, my comprehensive medical assessment actually begins the absolute moment they try to sit down or rise from the examination chair. This is what we call the fundamental sit-to-stand capability, which serves as a critical diagnostic window into a patient's lower body, muscular skeletal strength, and neuromuscular coordination. If you can confidently transition from a standard seated position on a deep couch or a chair to a fully erect, stable standing position without ever reaching out to utilize the armrests, without pushing off your knees, and without relying on a nearby table or wall for leverage, you are exhibiting an outstanding level of physical health. In clinical sports medicine and geriatrics, this specific movement pattern relies heavily on the synchronized engagement of your quadriceps, gluteal muscles, hamstrings, and core stabilizing infrastructure. As we age, a condition known as sarcopenia, the gradual involuntary loss of skeletal muscle mass, typically ravages the lower body first, leading to widespread balance issues, a shuffling gait, and an elevated risk of dangerous falls. Retaining the raw mechanical power to lift your entire body weight using nothing but the intrinsic strength of your legs is a definitive clinical victory. It proves that your muscular framework is exceptionally well preserved, your joint mechanics are highly stable, and your long-term statistical risk of experiencing a debilitating hip fracture or a loss of independent mobility over the next decade remains remarkably low. The second critical ability that I meticulously evaluate in older adults is the seamless operational harmony between the cardiovascular system and the pulmonary architecture, which manifests practically as your daily walking endurance. If you can actively engage in a continuous, brisk walk for 15 to 20 minutes at a steady pace without experiencing severe, debilitating shortness of breath, chest tightness, or an urgent medical necessity to sit down and recuperate, your internal organs are performing brilliantly. From a physiological perspective, this means your heart muscle is still incredibly elastic and capable of pumping a robust volume of oxygenated blood with every single beat, while your lungs maintain the vital elasticity required to execute efficient gas exchange. When you perform brisk walking, your working muscles demand a continuous rapid supply of oxygen. If your blood vessels are clear of advanced atherosclerosis and your heart possesses strong stroke volume, your body meets this demand effortlessly without triggering a state of localized hypoxia or extreme fatigue. In my clinical practice, when I see a senior citizen who can easily maintain a brisk walking pace, I instantly know that their cardiorespiratory fitness is highly protective against a massive spectrum of metabolic conditions. Multiple large-scale epidemiological studies conclusively reveal that individuals in the 60 to 80 age bracket who maintain a strong, independent walking capacity exhibit up to a 50% lower statistical hazard of experiencing sudden myocardial infarctions, ischemic strokes, or progressive congestive heart failure compared to their sedentary peers. As an experienced medical doctor, one of the most revealing questions I routinely ask my mature patients during a consultation revolves around the exact architecture and quality of their nocturnal sleep patterns. As the human brain undergoes chronological aging, the pineal gland naturally decreases its endogenous production of melatonin, which is the vital hormone responsible for regulating our circadian rhythms. Consequently, a vast majority of elderly individuals suffer from fragmented sleep, frequent nighttime awakenings, and prolonged periods of insomnia that leave them chronically exhausted. However, if you are currently between 60 and 80 years old, and you still routinely enjoy 6 to 8 hours of deeply restorative, uninterrupted sleep each night, waking up in the morning feeling fully rejuvenated, you have achieved a monumental neurological victory. During the deeper stages of non-REM sleep, specifically slow-wave sleep, your brain activates a highly specialized waste clearance mechanism known as the glymphatic system. Think of this as an internal biological nighttime cleaning crew that rapidly flushes out metabolic waste products, including amyloid beta plaques and tau proteins, which are the notorious primary drivers of neurodegenerative diseases. Enjoying consistent, high-quality sleep is absolute clinical proof that your central nervous system is successfully balancing its neurotransmitters. Your stress response pathways are perfectly regulated, and your brain is actively repairing cellular damage every single night, effectively preserving your cognitive longevity and protecting you from premature mental decline. The fifth vital health indicator that I closely track on a patient's medical chart over several years is the absolute stability of their total body weight. Once a person crosses the threshold of 60 years old, their foundational basal metabolic rate naturally begins to decelerate due to hormonal shifts and changes in body composition. In a clinical setting, we frequently observe two dangerous trends. Seniors either experience a rapid, uncontrolled gain in visceral adiposity, which is the dangerous belly fat that accumulates around vital internal organs, or they experience a sudden, unintentional drop in weight due to severe muscle wasting, which often signals an underlying systemic disease or advanced chronic inflammation. Therefore, if your body weight has remained remarkably stable, balanced, and consistent over the past 5 to 10 years without you undergoing extreme, unsustainable starvation diets or obsessive exercise regimes, your metabolic health is in an elite tier. A stable weight indicates that your endocrine system, including your thyroid gland and pancreatic insulin secretion, is functioning in perfect equilibrium, successfully converting the nutrients you consume into usable cellular energy rather than storing it as toxic fat or failing to absorb it entirely. This level of metabolic homeostasis means your cellular receptors remain highly sensitive to insulin, which directly shields your body from developing late-onset type 2 diabetes, fatty liver disease, and the devastating cardiovascular complications that accompany metabolic syndrome. The sixth ability on our list shifts our focus entirely to the concepts of structural flexibility, spinal alignment, and what we in the medical community term functional independence. If you can comfortably bend down to tie your own shoelaces without experiencing sharp back spasms, effortlessly retrieve a dropped object from the floor, and carry your own heavy bags of groceries from the local supermarket to your vehicle without assistance, you are winning at aging. These seemingly mundane, everyday tasks are actually highly complex biomechanical movements that require a phenomenal degree of flexibility in the hamstring muscles, stability in the lumbar spine, and structural integrity within your knee and ankle joints. As the decades pass, cartilage naturally tends to thin out, synovial fluid production within the joint capsules decreases, and tendons become increasingly rigid, which manifests clinically as osteoarthritis and severe physical restriction. Being able to execute these essential daily physical tasks completely unassisted provides clear, indisputable evidence that your musculoskeletal system has retained its youthful elasticity, your spinal discs remain adequately hydrated, and your major joints are completely free from severe, immobilizing arthritic degradation. This functional autonomy is one of the single greatest predictors of a high quality of life in your later years, as it allows you to remain completely self-reliant, active, and fully engaged with the physical world around you without needing a caregiver. The seventh ability moves deep into the complex realm of cognitive reserve, memory retention, and ongoing neuroplasticity. If you find that you rarely misplace your essential daily items like keys or glasses, can easily recall the names of acquaintances, remember intricate stories from your past, and most importantly, still possess a deep, burning curiosity to learn entirely new concepts, such as mastering a new piece of digital software, understanding a complex book, or adopting a new hobby, your brain is performing optimally. Many people assume that forgetfulness and cognitive slowing are entirely mandatory aspects of getting older, but advanced neurological research proves otherwise. When you actively challenge your brain with new, difficult cognitive tasks, you stimulate a biological process known as neurogenesis, which is the literal creation of new neurons and synaptic connections within the hippocampus. Retaining a sharp, agile memory and an ongoing passion for intellectual growth indicates that your prefrontal cortex remains thick, well oxygenated, and highly resilient against the onset of cognitive decline. In my professional opinion as a medical doctor, a mind that remains sharp, inquisitive, and analytically capable in late adulthood is clear evidence that you are actively maintaining an extensive cognitive reserve, which effectively acts as a powerful buffer against devastating neurodegenerative conditions such as Alzheimer's disease and vascular dementia. The eighth and final ability focuses entirely on the deep intersection of your psychological resilience, your active social connections, and your overall emotional health. As people progress through the later stages of life, they frequently face significant emotional challenges, including retirement, the loss of lifelong friends, and a shrinking social circle, which can easily plunge an individual into severe isolation, chronic loneliness, and a state of bitter irritability. However, if you are currently making a conscious, joyful effort to regularly sit down with friends, share deep laughter with your family, actively play with your grandchildren, and approach each new day with a profound sense of gratitude and purpose, your immune system is receiving a massive boost. From a biochemical standpoint, chronic loneliness and emotional depression trigger a sustained toxic elevation of a hormone called cortisol, which induces systemic inflammation, suppresses your white blood cells, and accelerates cellular aging across your entire body. Conversely, maintaining rich social bonds and a positive, optimistic outlook stimulates the steady release of oxytocin and endorphins, which naturally lowers arterial blood pressure, reduces systemic inflammation, and strengthens your body's innate immune defenses. A healthy, socially connected, and emotionally vibrant mind is one of the most potent, scientifically validated secrets to achieving true longevity and a disease-free life. Now that we have thoroughly analyzed these 7 incredible signs of physical and mental longevity, I want to step forward as your trusted medical advisor and provide you with my direct, unfiltered clinical opinion on how to actively preserve and enhance these abilities for the rest of your life. If you possess all 7 of these traits, that is a magnificent blessing from God, but you must never allow complacency to settle in. If you only possess a few, there is still immense time to biologically engineer a turnaround. My absolute top medical recommendation to achieve this is to eliminate sedentary behavior entirely by committing to at least 20 minutes of low-impact resistance training, swimming, or targeted yoga every single day. Physical movement is the literal biological currency that keeps your bones dense and your joints lubricated. Furthermore, you must aggressively optimize your daily nutrition by heavily incorporating nutrient-dense foods, rich leafy green vegetables, healthy omega-3 fatty acids, and high-quality lean proteins into your diet, while simultaneously drinking plenty of clean water to keep your cellular matrices fully hydrated. Avoid heavily processed sugars and refined carbohydrates like the plague, as they cause advanced glycation end products that rapidly stiffen your arteries and accelerate cellular decay. Remember this timeless medical truth. Physical inactivity is a slow poison that silently corrodes your skeletal structure and slows your heart, so keep your body moving constantly. We have reached the conclusion of this extensive health breakdown, and I want to ask you a very direct personal question. Out of these 7 extraordinary physical and cognitive abilities we discussed today, how many of them do you honestly see functioning perfectly in your own life or in the lives of the beloved elderly family members around you? I want you to go ahead and drop a comment down below with your specific numbers and experiences. I promise that I will personally be reading through your comments and responding to as many of your health insights as I possibly can. If you can confidently check off even 4 or 5 of these signs, you should take a deep breath of relief and feel incredibly proud because you are statistically on track to live a remarkably long, healthy, and vibrant life. Please take a moment to share this highly valuable educational video with your loved ones, your friends, and across your family, WhatsApp and Facebook groups, so that the people you care about can accurately benchmark their own physical fitness. Do not forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel right now to join our growing global health community so you never miss another deep clinical insight. Thank you so much for watching. Take exceptional care of your body, stay incredibly healthy, and I will see you in the next video.